Hey y'all, Bearder Bros Golf Show, back at it again. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
I'm perfect timing. It looks like this NFL game is out of reach, and you called it. Um, I wasn't a huge, believer, but Sean McVay and the LA defense out here causing havoc, and they're down. They're up 27-3 in the third
Yeah,
quarter. Third quarter about to end here soon. So, hopefully, people are tuning out of this game and tuning in to us here in a little bit because that's
maybe
all
my
she
major
wrote.
predictions will follow suit.
We'll see. I wouldn't call you the sports predictor of the century either, but it
Hey,
is what it
we're
is.
not going Nostradamus levels yet. We're just trying to be on the positive side of things, sir. Let me
Yeah,
have
so
one
that's
thing.
no, that's a win. That's a win. You called it. You literally said that you wouldn't be surprised if LA did their thing. Hello, mom. How are you? I feel
Hey,
like
mother.
it's been a while. Welcome in
Right, welcome back, per se. Sorry we're on this
um
late night tip, but this is what it is now, Mom. I know you're up anyways.
yeah,
You be up late. You a night out now.
no doubt. All right, let's get into the events of the week.
Yeah.
We'll always start off from what the thumbnail is. Don't bury the lead. Man, Nick Taylor, if you see that man entering into a playoff with you, go ahead and pack it up. He's got the stones. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
His three professional wins have all come by way of a playoff: the RBC Canadian Open on home soil, the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and then most recently now the Sony Open in Hawaii last week, and also um,
The waste
defeating our
management.
yeah, I
Oh, my
bet you
fault.
not defeating Nico Echavarria. So um, if if Nico Echeverria doesn't have any haters, I'm 6 feet under the ground. So
Right.
yeah, what'd you think about the win?
Yeah, I mean, great finish for Nick Taylor. I felt like he did. I mean, and the crazy part about it is, if you watch the coverage, he had two or three, not gimmies per se, but what a pro would say, these are must makes. For Bird, missed them, but then chips in like it was nothing for that. I think it's kind of like, I don't know. It's tough to say if he win. I mean, well, in Nick Taylor's case, he definitely won it, but as
Yeah,
we will get into it with the show notes, I think we also had some last group shenanigans that really cost him the tournament and or even just the playoff. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
right.
don't know if that was pressure busting pipes or if they're not used to it. I don't know because I'm trying
Well,
to think
we'll talk
about,
about it. We'll talk
yeah.
about it.
But
We'll get into it. Let's stick with Nick real quick. But yeah,
yeah.
definitely a clutch chip in on 18 from behind the green. I saw a
And
lot
the
of
birdie put
people.
on the first playoff hole too.
Right, right. That one was really clutch as well because he,
10,
you
10,
know,
12 feet Drano.
had to, that last 18th green was hard for people to hold that even on his chip. You
Yeah.
saw him chip twice on that hole. The second go around, he landed it on the front of the green to be able to
Just
have
released
pretty
out.
much, yeah, just to have a tap in to win it. But people hitting really decent three woods into that green, but not able to hold that, that surface. So, yeah, bold chip. And I'll give credit. People diss, the PGA Tour for their coverage and how it looks, but I think they've done a good job. At least I want to say late last year, particularly this year, providing some different angles of the course.
Yeah.
Versus kind of sticking with that overhead behind the green angle, which doesn't really give you a true lay of kind of the slopes and bumps of a course, but you really got a good look at it with them kind of looking up at Nick Taylor on the 18th green, seeing that
hmm
there actually is some slope to the front of that green, and a big fall off, honestly. So you don't
Yeah.
typically, even I've never seen that on that course, and it always comes down to 18. You would almost assume that that course is pretty dang flat, but yeah, there's some stuff around those green complexes that we typically don't get to see. So kudos to them for bringing something a little bit different and some different vantage points for us to see the course in its full kind of beauty.
Agreed.
But yeah, let's get into first. Congratulations to Nick for doing his thing, getting his third professional win. Clearly a talented guy out of Canada. Hope to see him just continuously do this,
Yeah,
and get a streak. But he's kind of getting on a run where he's getting one a year, which is very respectable. So kudos to him. Uh, in the show notes, as you kind of teased, is JJ Spawn went into the final round with a one shot lead. Had the articles coming out from PGAtour.com, saying that he was cruising and looking good. But honestly, final day, and you brought this point up via text, and I was texting with Z, earlier, and he said brought it up his own and said the same that, you know, JJ Spawn might want to look for a different caddy, going down the stretch in the final round, feeling like you have to be a little more aggressive. So he had three
yeah.
birdies on this front nine, and then finished one over on his back nine, bogeying 17. So what do you think about that, man? I feel like that's choking, right? When you have an opportunity to close out a tournament, and you get down to the point where you said he missed out on the playoff as a result of that drop shot. Um,
Yeah,
and I
I
feel like you
think
have to figure out how to scrape out a birdie on 18 as well.
I think so. I think, well, you know me, I'm my deep dives down on YouTube and everything like that. It just plays into your hands to be more aggressive off the tee. The, there was just a lot of laying up, a lot of position plays where, you're not necessarily having scoring clubs in your hand. Yeah, there's some tight dog legs and stuff like that, but you gotta you're a pro. You got to put it in your own hands to know that you have the ability to pull off shots, cut the corner, get all the way into a wedge distance, get into a 9 iron, 8 iron, something that you can go flag hunting with. You saw it earlier in the day. He can shape it both ways. He can turn
Hmm.
it to the left, he can turn it to the right. So it's not like he doesn't know how to come into greens with that shot heading towards the flag. So I think 17 might have been his 17 might have been his own fault with just not hitting it right out of the screws because you saw it, everybody was playing a 7 iron, it's 190 something downwind, you release it down the green, but you get into the bunker and you just stub it, like you don't even give yourself an opportunity, and then you end up having like 15 to 20 feet to save par on a par three where you should be at least making par, if not birdie, especially coming
Yeah,
home. And then I guess the
that's where
nerves
you.
hit because
That's.
18 was just despicable.
I mean, I think the nerves hit on 17. I mean, that's one of those ones where if he did necessarily not hit a clean strike, that
That's
that's
true.
that's the result of nerves, right?
Yeah.
Hit it in the fat part of the green on 17. It's
Yeah.
not really a birdie hole.
Right.
Um, just
Go the
get
Jaeger
a
route.
par and get out of there.
Yeah. Go to Jaeger route. He hit it to the right side of the green. The green kind of caroms it back to the left, and it slopes into that little back left corner. So it's not like he couldn't have played the slope. Just like what you were saying, play to that middle of that green and let it fall in from there, and get out of there with a par, and then give yourself a fighting chance going down the stretch. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the questions. This is definitely one of the real times where you have to ask yourself, did JJ lose it or did Nick Taylor win it? And it's kind of a case of both. Like like one of those times before, like the Scottish Open last year. What's his face? Horgard. He absolutely went out and won that shit. He shot a
Right.
65 in some crazy conditions. It's always windy. It's a link style course. This one, it's a little bit more in the up in the air for me. JJ definitely did some things off the tee that like I said, I don't think he put himself in a position to win it. But Nick
Yeah, you
Taylor
can't.
hit the biggest clutch eagle chip. I mean, you
I
could
I,
imagine, especially
I feel
these
like
last week.
you have to get aggressive, right? The rough
Yeah,
wasn't incredibly penalizing, so like you said, miss long. Pull out the
yeah,
driver. Um, Conservative on it's kind of like in football when they go to the prevent defense. If cliches, oh, it prevents you from winning, and I really truly do feel like that, especially at the Sony Open. This comes down to the final stretch. I mean, I feel like we had a playoff last year. It always comes down to 18. It's bottlenecked at the top. There's not a lot
yeah,
of movement after the first couple of days. So you have to go shoot a score on that final day. I'd much rather you say you got aggressive and, didn't do well. And clearly
right.
I don't know if he just kind of after getting to the back nine turned it off because again he had a very good solid front nine where he was 3 under going
Hmm.
into the back nine and then had 7 straight pars until that bogey. That's just not winning golf, and we've seen JJ win it before. But again, when the chips are down, you got to go get it. And
Yeah,
Nick Taylor then snatched it out of Nico Echavarria's hands because it wasn't. I mean, chipping in for Eagles not probable, but I mean these pros, if they have a straightforward chip, you know, predictable break, coming on the top side of that green is probably a little more straightforward. So hitting it long wasn't. It's clearly the right play there.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, Nick Taylor just, said, I'm going to get aggressive. And if I miss it past the hole, I miss it past the hole.
yeah.
But I'm at
He
least going
wasn't
to
gonna miss
try.
it short. Yeah, he wasn't missing short on that at all.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. JJ, it's partly the player, but then in those situations, you also have to look at the caddy and say, hey, you need to be speaking life into your player.
And give
Um,
him a vote of confidence.
Yeah, just say, hey, we're in a tough position, or maybe halfway through the back nine, hey, we got to start making some plays here. We got to go get some
Yeah,
scores. Give ourselves a chance to get some birdies because you look at other scorecards that were out there, and there were birdies to be had on the back nine. It wasn't completely dried up and tough. Um, so I don't know, man. I hate seeing players give up an opportunity to win. You never know when you're going to be able to get back there.
agreed.
So, yeah, I think it's a bit of a. I want to say choke, but he definitely did not put himself in a position to win. Choking's tough, but
Yeah,
it comes really close with what he did on 17. Let's see if there's anything. Okay, so it's also linked down in the description below. Kind of this tee shot trend that has popped up, and I keep seeing it. Like it just keeps coming up in my social media feed. Was Tom Kim lining up really close to the tee markers this week? This is not something that's brand new. Um, you know, Pros have been using this technique, but again, it just tended to stand out this week. Lining up on the right side of the tee box, needing to hit a cut. Pretty much, if he swung out to in, or excuse me, in to out, he's striking that tee marker. But this is forcing him to hit the out to in swing, hit the cut. What do you think about this strategy and just using it as a amateur to force yourself to hit a cut, even though I feel like amateurs struggle with that more than anything? What do you think about this technique?
I think it's weird. I mean, I couldn't do it. I mean, mentally, it's already a loop. It already threw me for a loop to see it. Um, you know me, I'm not nearly as accurate. I mean, I will say it probably would get me to stop shanking the ball. There was no, I'd be shrinking in so tight that there would be absolutely no way for me to shank it. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird to me. But to each their own. And if the tour officials and stuff aren't over here, on your head top about it, continue to do it. Clearly, it's not a winning a winning formula because he was nowhere near the lead. But
Right.
good job, Tom. I guess
Do,
I don't know.
you primarily hit a draw off the tee? What's your comfort level with hitting a fade on command? I know you like hitting a draw.
I mean, it used to be fine, but you know what I'm doing if I'm hitting a fade. I just want it to fall right, maybe 2, 3 yards as it is. Aim at the middle of the green, let it slide a little bit. I mean, but
But
I
with
don't want to
driver,
hit like,
what's your strategy with driver? What is your for you? I'm just curious. What's your
yeah.
setup with driver in hand, hitting a draw versus a fade off the tee box? What setup differences do you have?
Oh, for me, yeah, I would say. I mean, honestly, I would say I favor the left side of the tee box as it is. To me, visually speaking, I think when I'm doing a draw, I'll aim up the inside right of the fairway. If I want to
Okay.
hit a fade,
But what do
then
you
what
do
I'll
different
do
with
is,
your body? Like, are you closed stand? Do you change stance,
oh
ball
yes, yes.
position?
No, 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 no. I'll have a brain fart if I get into where the ball needs to be. I try to tee it up the same distance, tee height from the ground. I try to line up the same way. The only thing that I'm doing is aligning my body. I pick the target out, keep my face square to my original line, and then I'm either opening my body to hit a fade or I'm closing my shoulders just a little bit to hit a draw. But yeah, you're
Making
right.
those
I mean, I
changes.
typically no, I typically
Okay.
just try to hit a draw and just hit something I know is going to come back.
Okay. I was just curious how you mentally play that. I don't know. I guess I do change the ball position slightly. Um, like
Forward,
a little bit more forward for the fade. Not crazy, but just a little bit more because I was playing with it this past week. Hitting a draw just kind of gives me a little bit more tilt, little ball a little bit further back in my stance, and then really forcing myself to hit up on it.
yeah,
For the draw, for the draw. So I don't know. That seems pretty repeatable without having to have big misses either direction. I was
yeah,
telling you, drivers probably the strongest club in my bag right now. Although irons have also, and that's two things that never come together for me typically, is irons and driver working on the same plane. But yesterday it was cold. I was miserable playing, but had good irons, good driver off the tee. Could not putt to save my life, bro. Like at all. And it's
mm,
probably the winter greens and them just being a little bit bare and not, I don't know, hard to read. I don't know. Winter greens are
yeah,
always the hardest to me to read because there's not a lot of grain that comes into
yeah.
play and just a little bit extra rollout. So I was struggling, which is
Waterview's a good
disappointing.
course too. I really enjoyed that last time we went out there.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's fun and playable, right? It's scoreable.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's move on across the pond to the DP World Tour. Do you know the official name of that thing that they did? I mean, the Euro
It was
Team
called the
Cup.
yeah, it was called the Team Cup.
Okay, so the Euro Team Cup was absolutely a dud. Um, Interesting concept on the golf. It was what continental Europe. You know better. It wasn't appealing to me at all.
Yeah, it
Versus
was.
Great Britain and Ireland.
It was the British Isles essentially, Great Britain and Ireland, and then it was mainland Europe, and it just was a dud, unfortunately. The course presented great. It was what you wanted out of a match play event. The course, the rough wasn't too built up, so you really felt like you could score from anywhere, which is what you want. Um, I don't know. I felt like the British team really was just hitting more shots. Um, Torbjorn Olesen was trying his best. He had a really good weekend. I mean, I would say he was their strongest player. Made a bunch of putts. Won his singles match going away 3-1 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, besides that, nobody really had anything to offer. Lagasse, Pavon, Norgard. I mean, the list goes on. It was a 10 man. It was 10 versus 10. Um, Molinari was the playing captain. Didn't really have much to offer. Yeah,
No, no, it was bad. I mean,
yeah,
it was
it was
over going
bad.
into Sunday. They
It
really
was a
had to
snooze
would have
fest.
had to yeah, they would have had to come out and had some incredible comeback on Sunday to actually make
Yeah.
it competitive. So when I tuned in early Sunday morning, um, I watched a few holes and um, watched Terrell Hadden with his hat off, and
What did
it's
I
always
say, Rod?
interesting. Bro, he needs
Did
to
I
let
not
that
speak
stuff
on
go.
this? I
He needs to
told
let
you.
that go. But I guess the most interesting thing come out of it was Luke Donald's comments. Spoke about a few players that currently are on live, Terrell being one of them, and coming up to the Ryder Cup this year. It seems like he is very open, especially now that the live guys are getting starts over in the DP World Tour this year,
Yeah.
with all the fines being dismissed or taken care of, whatever they ended up doing. Is that he is going to really consider them, mention a lot of them in great light. Apparently this other guy, Tom McKibben, who's a youngster who did qualify for his PGA Tour card but is now electing to go play on live on John Rahm's team's 22-year-old star, out of Ireland, bouncing over,
Northern Ireland.
which which he had some potential. Seems like he's playing out of the same club that Rory McIlroy came out of, the Hollywood. Is it Hollywood?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
Hollywood or something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, they were out of the same club, and yeah, it seems like Luke McDonald pretty much just skipped over talking about him. So would look at him to make the Ryder Cup, particularly kind of giving up on the momentum. Um, and I forgot to even put this in the show notes. And we'll talk about the Eugenio Chikara kind of statements over the weekend as well. But what do you think about Luke Donald already kind of talking Ryder Cup teams and potential, and just already kind of stating some boundaries, it seems like, of who he's looking for?
I think it's good. I think it's the reason why they continue to beat our ass. You got to talk about it. You got to be about it. I mean, we're doing a better job of being proactive about it now and seeing chemistry, seeing who matches with who, seeing who's, really about that life and who can game when it comes down to it. And I think Keegan Bradley, the being the competitor that he is, he's going to bring all of that out of the guys anyways. But yeah, I have no qualms with what Luke Donald is doing. Now I will say if he is trying to cement his team, that's a little bit goofy. You still got half
Hmm.
a year to go before you really even need to start really talking points accumulation, automatic qualifiers and stuff like that. There's just so much time before you even need to get to that. But yeah, I think it's good to be proactive. Now,
Yeah, and we talked about the weird automatic qualifiers that right now on the European side are super weak
right.
and names that we don't really know a couple weeks ago. So yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
I
lot
just
of
looked
lot
at
of
that
golf
Tom
left to play.
McKibben guy. Oh, shit.
You said you were just
I
looking them up.
Yeah, one guy. Did he do it? Did he confirm it already?
It seems like it's confirmed from everything that I saw multiple reports that he's going to be joining John Rahm's team. That it didn't seem like it was even in question, to be honest.
Jeez Louise, man, that's so stupid.
I, I don't know.
And
It's
it's
just,
like
to
a
me, it's go ahead.
somebody said it was an $8 million deal.
Which that's not life changing. And I'm trying to look for some of the comments that we a good version of the Eugenio Chikara comments that we kind of went over.
Yeah,
Let's see here.
right. Especially as it's just like what he was saying. Chikara said he was a young guy, and it doesn't even. Wait, Tour Pro.
We'll see. Anyway, so yeah, pretty much Chikara,
Mm,
his 3-year deal is up with Live. Made upwards of about 16 million on the tour. I'm guessing that's through his contract, and then he had one win while on Live Golf, and
mm-hmm.
apparently, I mean, that he's like I set myself up for life, right? So that's cool, right? He's got 16 mil in the bank. Probably invested some of that, so he feels confident financially for himself. But said that being a winner on Live gave him no built-in advantages, and he didn't receive. He essentially compared himself to Aber, and him getting his first win and things changing, getting status. He did speak to being promised, official world golf ranking points, having access to majors, which of course Liv gave up that pursuit early last year. So I think it colored him as disappointed in the whole situation, from what was promised and what he ended up getting out of the deal. Of course,
Yeah,
finances are one thing, but he's like, "Hey, I'm 24 years old. I have a lot of golf left to play," and he just hasn't been afforded all the advantages. And I think he did speak to the work ethic as well. Is that now he's like, I have to really tune in, and essentially hinted at now that I have something deeper to fight for, that I don't think he's been playing as hard. And he's not exactly the most thin guy in the world. He carries a little bit more weight around the belt line. So
right.
it kind of speaks to, was he putting in the work? You get the contract, naturally talented guy, but wasn't necessarily putting in that super hard work. What do you think about his comments? I mean, I respect the honesty at the end of the day. Um,
Yeah.
so what do you
I
think?
mean, I agree. I mean, I don't like I told you in the text. I don't have any sympathy for him because he knew what he was getting into when he signed on with them guys. So they, as we said, presented false promises, did not deliver on said promises. So for you to want a pity party for that, I'm not for it, but I get it. You went over young, thinking there was some potential. You thought you could, possibly be a part of something that was, quote unquote, growing the game, doing things a different way,
Mhm.
looking at it from a different perspective. It did not come into fruition. So I'm glad you have saw the error of your ways, per se. I mean, I don't even know if he would say it was an error. He probably is still okay with the money he made and everything like that. But as
Yeah.
far as it goes, with what he needs to do to get back into like an actual tour and get back to getting world ranking points and stuff like that, I'm glad he is seeing what he
Well,
needs to do for that.
yeah, I mean, he's got to sit out for a year. Essentially, it's a year from his last live golf tournament. So it'll be the end of this year until he's clear from that.
Yeah,
And then I guess he then has to work his way back through, the
Q
pathways that
school
are available, Q School, Corn Ferry.
exemptions. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, he
So
could
look,
probably do some Asian tour stuff in the meantime, get back into the
right.
swing of things, get some, at
Get some
least
reps.
get some reps in and stuff like that. But on another note, but tied in with that, it's like it's another thing that we keep reiterating. Once again, not a big name that has went over to the Live Tour. Nothing that is really moving the meter here. It is just another guy
Yeah.
that just happens to be going over to the Live. Now, the team he's playing for, cool, whatever. But I
Yeah.
mean,
And
if
there
you
was
are a
another.
PGA, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry. No, I was going to say there was another kind of no namer that joined Bubba Watson's team as well. Somebody I had not heard of. So they're not getting the big names anymore, not the big splashes, because clearly that didn't make a huge difference.
Who even was on Legion 13 with Rom and Haddon? Because the
I want
Caleb
to
Surratt guy is still there. Who was
with
the
the
fourth in the
Vincent
first place?
one of those Vincent brothers.
Oh, so nobody. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, let me pull these quotes up just so I don't misquote him. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and not say anything outside of. So, departing live golfer Eugene Yoshikar voiced his thoughts on the league amid the news that he won't be returning for 2025. When I joined Live, they promised OWGR and majors, but it didn't happen. I trusted them. I was the first young guy, then the others came after I made the decision. But official World Golf ranking and majors still hasn't happened. On Live, nothing changes. There is only money. It doesn't matter if you finish 30th or first. Only money. I'm not a guy who wants more money. What will change my life is playing in Hawaii and qualifying for the majors, qualifying for the Masters, the Ryder Cup. I see what it's like to win on the PGA Tour and how your life changes, how you get major access and ranking points. I'm not blaming them. They probably know more, but they don't really care about the young guys much. I'm very thankful for what they've done. Obviously, Live didn't exist when I was growing up. I was watching Tiger Woods winning on the PGA Tour, and I want to do that. And it's something, honestly, that we have echoed pretty much since the kind of inception of all this is that we're still in the Tiger Woods kind of wave of golf. You see that he's on the latest version of the golf game this year again with
Still
Max
number one in
Homa.
PIP.
Right. And so love it's weird because we've almost become full circle with the Tiger Woods influence. We saw the popularity, him dominating the game, setting records. We've spoken to kind of the tide is somewhat changing, that there's some Tiger Woods hate that we see bubbling up here lately. And maybe it's resentment. I don't know what that's coming from, but you see
Yeah,
quite a few naysayers in comment sections and, posts that surround Tiger. But whether you like it or hate it, it still gets engagement. The
right,
eyes still get turned to him. And so you still see this, generations of players that grew up watching Tiger. And while we're kind of on the tail end of that, Live is still in its infancy, 3 years in. We're going to see if it still holds interest with the Saudis going forward. They've talked about a 12% reduction in their investment portfolio around the world when it comes to, golf. Is that going to be something that actually moves the needle for them? Currently, it
right.
has not. I mean, when we're talking about investments, they haven't gotten any money back on the investment. I know they're trying to get in, with the PGA Tour, and that would allow them to recoup some of that money, but that doesn't look like likely. Not hearing much movement on the talks with Fox to get their season aired, and we're less than a month out from that. So they're gonna have to make some major, moves here pretty quickly to make that happen. They've just
Yep.
been in talks. So I mean, the PGA Tour still seems to be where it's at. The prize pools are decent. You don't have to get on the road. You do have access to kind of those higher purses. And I guarantee with these young guys, they're seeing a guy like Aber win, get the endorsement deals, be sponsored, that it kind of makes up for what you would have received by going over to Live with,
Yeah,
limited credentials. So if he got 16 mil, imagine had he done that over here, he gets a sponsorship deal, club deal with, whoever, Titleist, Ping, TaylorMade, somebody that's willing to pay, apparel, attached to that. That 16 mil is eclipsed pretty quickly. So, I mean,
right.
I think people are probably realizing the prestige, and if you're 24 and you generally love golf and still like playing at a competitive level and you have that spirit, what do you do, right? um I don't know, it just seems like it's made for the older guys, and that's really who it fits, and I think he spoke to that as well.
Yeah, it's a money
So
grab.
it is. So anyway, just thought that was interesting as a comparing and contrasting stories. This week we move ahead to the American Express. I did want to point out something. I don't know if it's still up. I'm gonna see because it was something that pissed me off about golf media. It was from golf.com. No, they corrected it. So they had posted about Xander Schauffele withdrawing from the American Express, which that always tends to come with all this speculation anytime a big name is like, oh, pulling out, especially in these early season tournaments.
Hmm.
The times when Tony Finau has pulled out. Is he talking with Liv? And it's just kind of annoying media narrative to push that every time someone drops out of a tournament. Um,
Clickbait.
it is very much clickbait, and it's getting annoying at this point. We saw Xander in Hawaii. It it's fine.
Yeah,
He's gonna
he's
stick
having a
around.
good time. He's
Yeah.
having a good time right now.
So yeah, it's annoying. Golf media is so bad. I
Yeah.
mean, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a grab. I mean, once again, I think the people that are gonna look for golf knowledge and golf news are gonna be the same people anyways. You don't need to do this attention grabbing things to try to get new viewers because those guys don't really, excuse my language, give a fuck. I mean, they're gonna still be looking for when is Tiger gonna play, when is Rory teeing it up,
Yeah,
when is the namesakes. This
golfers are
whole
we're nerds. We're niche. We're locked into
right.
this niche sport. So
We're
yeah,
gonna
you don't
find the information regardless. We don't need this weird teasing bait stuff any more than it already has been done.
right.
Period.
And if you have tangible sources that you know Xander's been in talks with Liv, report that. Even
Right.
if you told me, hey, there's an anonymous source that says that Xander's in advanced talks, but just dropping a alert withdrew from the American Express, bold big print. It's just lame.
It's
Y'all, we
Chris
can do
Broussard
better.
all over again.
You says Chris Broussard.
Yeah, this is the Chris Broussard of the NBA. Sources are saying, my sources, people close to the information here are saying, all right, bro, miss me.
um. So yeah, looking forward to that. I mean, we keep it moving. The golf season is we're two tournaments down. It's coming quick. Abu Dhabi. I forgot to mention that earlier with the DP World Tour. So star-studded event this coming week. We got John Rahm already out there. DP World Tour, capitalizing on John Rahm being in the building. He actually looked pretty svelte. The belt looked like he had knocked a couple of notches off in the off season. So taking the season a little more seriously than he did last year. John looked like he was enjoying the multiple hundreds of millions that he had acquired last year and was eating pretty
Hmm.
damn good. But he looked good. I mean, in the video that was posted earlier by DP World Tour on Instagram, he looked like he was in really good shape. We'll see if the golf game comes along with him. We hadn't heard from him since he kind of packed in those DP World Tour events at the latter half of last year. Rory's going to be out there.
Yep,
Terrell Haddon, Victor Hovland will be out in Dubai as well with a new swing coach. So we saw the double pump return in Hawaii. So it'll
yep.
be interesting if we can see the Victor of 2 seasons ago. Had an off year last year, but yeah, we're gonna get some really good golf in the desert this week, so that'll be exciting on the DP World Tour. They're getting into the full swing of their season after they laid the egg with this team event. Still got to wait a couple weeks for the ladies to come on around, but they'll be back in 2 weeks. But yeah, want to shout out to the Abu Dhabi Classic coming up this week.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, it's one of their elevated events. I mean, as you can tell, nine
Yeah,
million dollar purse in total. 8,000 road to road to Dubai or road to
yeah,
whatever
I think it's
it's
Road to
called.
Dubai.
Yeah, road to Dubai points, and then Ryder Cup points is on the line as well, doubled
Yeah.
from the usual. So, yeah, this
Oh,
is the second
Tom,
event.
Tommy Fleetwood. All the European names are gonna be out there.
Yeah, well, Tommy Fleetwood was in the team cup, so it just makes sense for him to stay out there.
Yeah,
Same with Terrell. Hopefully Matt Wallace and all them guys is out there too. Lagasse. Hopefully most of the people from the team cup are going. They should. If you did
right.
enough to be in the team cup, the top 20, you're going to be amongst that 125 or 140 person field that they have over there. You might
Yeah.
as well. It's the
So yeah,
second of
I mean, yeah, I mean, most of the names on the team cup were, yeah, definitely notable folks. Tommy Fleetwood, Terrell Hatton, Laurie Cantor, again, another defector from Live, Justin Rose, Matthew Jordan, Paul Waring, Matt Wallace, Tom McKibben, Jordan
mhm,
Smith, Aaron Rye. On the European side, Matthew Pavon, um, he's just been a solid player. I mean, since last year breaking on the scene, we see him everywhere now.
yeah,
Thorborn Olerson, Romain Langanesk, Julian Guerrier. Yeah, they were struggling. They didn't have the names. Nicholas Norgard, Rasmus Neergaard Peterson, Antoine Rosner, Manacero, Francesco Merle. I think we probably see every one of those to a man this
yeah.
week. So it'll be a good tournament, and with the timing of it, should be able to catch quite a bit of it with them coming on pretty early in the day. So
Yo, this is I mean, this is really good stuff that the DP World Tour is doing. I mean, if you look at how their tour is mapped out, it's all sectioned off. I mean, so they're figuring out a way to get people bread up the fields, but also make it efficient. So like
hmm
it's kind of like, well, you know how the PGA Tour does. They move from the Hawaii into the West Coast,
then
then
go
they make
Florida.
that jump over to Florida, and then it's kind of in order from there. But if you look at the DP World Tour, they're in Dubai, they're in the Middle East for the next 5 weeks. Then they
Yep.
go to
Goodbye.
then they go to an African swing. Then they go to a little Asian swing. I mean, it's all right there. You're not making 8 and 9 hour flights. You're right
Right.
there to the next one.
And they play
And
damn
then
near every week. I mean,
they
they
play
play a lot of golf.
every week. And they play every week. Then they get into the Asian swing. Same thing. Yo, it's just you look at the model, it's great. I
Yeah.
just want to point that out as we have pointed it out again numerous times. They are headed the right way. If they can get a few more donors and deals like that, no way that they don't return to the glorious days of when it was just the European tour. So I'm still holding court with them. I'm still excited what they got going on. But yeah,
And they're
this
still producing golfers. I
really
mean,
good
that's the
players.
thing. Yeah, that's the thing. I think we saw that when I keep going back to it because I was impressed by it. There was one week in the late part of last year where we got to see the Challenge Tour because it was the only ball game on TV that week. So
Right.
and seeing some really talented guys like, damn, you're playing some golf. Why are you not on the big tour yet?
Yeah.
And
No,
I think it
seriously.
just, I think it just speaks to the depth of talent. You see veterans that have stuck out there for a long time on the DP World Tour, still playing high quality golf.
Hmm.
I'm waiting for the year we don't see Ross Fisher anymore, but that man's still playing golf at a pretty
Right.
decently high level, and I feel like Ross Fisher's been playing golf for like 30 years on the pro level. As long
Yes.
as we have been playing, we've known about Ross Fisher, and you
Yeah.
still see him creeping up on leaderboards. So you have a wide
Marcel
range of,
Scene,
yep, you see
another guy.
young talent mixed with some older guys. So DP World Tour is surprisingly deep.
Yep.
So don't sleep on them.
Yep.
Any other golf news you want to talk about before we jump on this other rando topic that I got up here?
Um, no, maybe like I think I think personally, me and you should probably do like an updated what's in the bag or like or what's in the bag refresher, something like that. Whether that be something segmented next week or
Yeah.
something that we do on our own and just film that out. put that up on
Yeah.
a channel or something like that. But other than that, no.
Okay. We'll keep it moving. All right. In other sports news, because we cover a little bit of everything. Uh, really, the bloodbath of last week with the NFL coaches getting fired, um, is crazy. And then you have weird situations that kind of get delayed, past Bloody Monday. So we
Yeah,
found out today that in the late stages of trying to negotiate a contract, the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy could not come to an agreement, which I don't know what his value would be at this point. Were they asking him to coach for free? Because I mean, this has been a brutal. I didn't realize he had been here for 5 years already.
right.
It's been a rough 5 years. Which I mean, for Cowboys fans, it's been a rough 30 years of football since we're approaching 30 years since that last championship, and
Yep.
there's not much hope on the horizon, man. I look at what we've missed out on with these young quarterbacks and moving forward when something's not working, just move on. There's
Yeah.
young quarterbacks that are coming out here making a difference and winning games. You saw Jaden Daniels take Washington to a victory yesterday. Um, who's another young guy that's in the playoffs? Hell,
CJ Stroud.
even though he didn't do well today, Sam Darnold, renaissance of a career,
Yeah.
still a young guy. Just had to find the right system. There's just quite a few folks out there that, you know, you take a chance, you upgrade your quarterback position, even though it may feel like, hey, I'm losing experience. Talent is talent, and you can
Yeah.
cultivate that. Who do you think the Cowboys should get, and who do you think they will end up with?
I think they should get somebody with a backbone, but Bill Belichick's already with the Tar Heels. I don't foresee him, foregoing that job just to get back in the pros. Um, Apparently, Deion Sanders is already in talks with Jerry to come back
Yeah,
and lead the squad. I'm okay with that. I'm
but do you
also
think
okay.
we know how assertive Dion is? Do you think that meshes with Jerry's personality, or do you think we end up with a not Bill Belichick, but Bill Parcells situation? Another guy with a big personality, likes to shop for his own groceries. Dion is somewhat had that choice with these new transfer portal rules to pretty much pick out his team on the college level. He won't necessarily have that opportunity to do as much with the personnel, with Jerry. We've talked
Well,
about him not giving the reins. Do you think that works?
I I know Jerry's not gonna relinquish the rings, but do I think that him bringing back a former player and somebody that he actually likes and gravitates to makes it a little bit easier for him to just shut up and sit back a little bit? Yes, but because ain't no way Dion's not gonna diminish his light. That's for sure.
Right. But does
And
that flash?
Shador.
I get it, and I think here's the thing. Here's the only reason I kind of like it, and it speaks to what I said earlier. Is I mean, I don't know where Shador's value is going to be, um, but if anything, it gives
Yeah,
the
bring him
Cowboys an
with them.
opportunity. Yeah, but I think unfortunately Dak's contract is stands in the way of that. That's a lot of dead money on the cap to let him go, and I don't think you're going to find any willing trade partner willing to take on that deal at this stage of the game. Right, we're 1 year into this new deal. Um,
Well, if it's a money thing, Shador made hella in college, and he's gonna be on a rookie deal for 3 or 4 years. So you eat 20 million, and you don't. I mean, not saying Jerry's just going to throw away money, but you let Dak return from that hamstring or whatever, have him have 1 year or so to take some of that contract off, and then you put Shador in after a year, after a rookie year or something like that, after letting him learn and sit behind and see what it's like, get him in like the second half for like them dead quarters and stuff like that, and then go from there. I don't know. I mean, this is just in a perfect world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
I
that
mean,
because
I
Dak's
mean,
contract's
and
not tradable.
it's
That's right.
yeah, it's not. I mean, there's 100. It was a 200. It was a 4 year, $240 million deal. Um,
But if a lot of that's guaranteed, then yeah, that's you can just eat that shit and take him and tell him to be on his merry way.
because the
But
signing bonus, he's already received 80,000 in a signing bonus,
80
um,
million,
80 million, and yeah, I don't know, and it's
that's half of it right
showing.
there. I mean, he
Yeah,
played
but
this year, then next year. So what? They're on the hook for what? 80, and then you break the rest of it off for like the rest of the 260. So
yeah,
180,
yeah,
45
it
and
looks like
45.
the dead money on the back half of the deal, when you get past 2025, is 62 mil, 34 mil, and then 17 mil, in 2028. So of course that's like all extended out. The majority of the hit happened this year and will happen next year. Um, but
So yeah, you let Shador, you draft Shador, whatever you got to do to get into that top lottery pick or whatever, and then you let him sit behind that, and then you eat the rest of that contract. You let Shador take over.
yeah, but we'll see. I don't know. He kind of gives me vibes on the pro level. Um, I mean, could he be the next Jaden Daniels? Yeah, but he could also be the next Quincy Carter too. So I don't know. Um,
No, I wouldn't say that.
I don't
He's
know,
got
man.
a
He's
he's got an actual arm. I think
I
his
get it.
bottom is Jamarcus Russell, and he's already smarter and less lazy than Jamarcus Russell.
That's a
Just off
pretty
the arm
bottom.
talent, yeah, I would much rather him be Jamarcus Russell than Quincy Carter. Quincy Carter is just despicable. As a
I'm just
Cowboys
saying.
fan, you know how terrible that is.
I mean, I don't know if I shared it, but it was somebody that put together a slideshow of all the Cowboy quarterbacks, going back to like past Troy Aikman. Bro, it was so sad. Some of those names, Clint, guy, he's a redheaded dude with a beard.
The
Chad
washed up
Hutchinson
Vinny Testaverde years. My
with those.
God,
The only thing I can, when I visualize Vinny Testaverde, is those big floppy shoulder pads. Just old
right?
school is all get out, man. Yeah, it's been real sad. So anyway, we'll see, man. I know Jerry likes the splash. You know, we're in Dallas. It creates excitement around the team again. Because I don't know. I feel like people are over it. Just kind of within my friend group and people who have been lifelong Cowboys fans, and it's just like this collective just disengagement. We'd always avoid playing on Sundays, like playing. We wouldn't set up golf rounds on Sunday if the Cowboys were playing. It would have to be a Saturday round. And now we've started just saying, who cares? What day is the weather better on, Saturday or Sunday?
Right. Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Fuck them.
that's right. Anybody can get it, bro. Quincy Carter, wherever he's at, hopefully he's doing well and has gotten his life together personally. But yeah, anybody can get it.
Facts.
Man. So this, like I said, pretty dead week. Not dead, but just, I mean, we're kind of just we're grazing into the golf season. Um,
Yeah.
can't wait till we get to the farmers insurance. That one that always kind of feels like the season's getting real. Um, but I'm excited about the DP World Tour this week. That's the tournament I'm gonna focus on watching. American Express is cool. It's typically a shootout low
We'll still see
scoring.
a few of the PGA pros that we like. I think JT's in it for sure. Well, Xander was supposed to be in it, but yeah. So I think there will still be a few names in there.
Yeah,
Before we really kickstart it that week after next. So yeah, I'm excited for the PGA too.
cool. All right, bro. I mean, no need to beat the dead horse. Anything else you want to hit on before we get out of here?
No, we can keep it concise.
We'll cover. We'll figure out a nice tidy way to cover our what's in the bag for 2025. I don't have many changes. I know you're always changing putters every other round, so we'll figure
Chill
out a way
out.
to do that do that well. The biggest change I'm gonna have to my bag this year, new grips. That's about it. So
Proud of you.
anyway, Beard Bros Golf Show. We'll be back at it again next week. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
See y'all later.